This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. Well, here we are at episode 194. That means we're pretty close to our 200th episode. And if you remember when we got to our 100th episode, we had a big party and showed all kinds of things about the boat and welcomed many friends. And so we're planning on doing another party for our 200th episode. So we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of this video. And we're also going to go over what is left to complete, the categories that we have left to complete on the boat.
Now we have an extensive list of 236 tasks left to go. And we're going to get into what that list is and what that means for a schedule, at least an estimated one, to completion. So stick around for that. But for right off the start here, let's go show you what we got done this week on the boat. It's Monday. We're starting a new week, and we're working down in the hull still on the heads. And we don't want to make all of the doors right now, but we need the barn door because there's only one barn door now. It's the one in the head on the starboard side. And we need that barn door because we need to put it in there now to make sure that we have enough room for the shelving that goes on the other side of it. That's why it has to go in. All the rest of them there's 7 more doors, and they're all swing doors, and so we don't have the same issues on that. And we're going to build all those doors differently than we're going to build the barn door. The barn door is going to be a single cutout piece that slides back and forth, where we're going to actually piece together all 7 of the other doors. So we'll show you that when we get to it. So don't worry about that right now. Let's get this cut. So Brian's going to pull the peel ply on this before we do that little test. So while he is pulling this peel ply, can we show you what he was doing earlier? While I was down here, he was upstairs working on sanding the entire helm area here. And we have to get this all sanded, including working on all these stairs so that progress the entire cockpit. So we also worked on the seating area over here where the table's going to be and got initial sand on that, so it's ready to put the first fairing layers on there. But at the time we do that, we're also going to put the second coat of fairing over here on the helm seating area. And that'll let us finish up this whole area. Go stick in the boat, take a look. Okay. You'll go in here, I know you will. So that's where that barn door is going to be. So this is the rail that goes here. And this is a little bridge up here. And when the door's in, it's just barely above that, so it's all good. In our quest to get all of the cockpit and salon faired, like I said, we're going to keep attacking this, trying to do some every day, whether that be fairing or sanding. And so today we're going to start fairing, and we're going to try and get this support beam for the mainsail track up there in, and then this whole bench area down here all faired right now. First coat on that whole mainsail track support there beam is on. I'm good with how far it is right now. We'll sand that up. There'll be few low spots and we'll fill those and then that'll be good. So we're not done yet though. We're on to this beauty. But at least it's not above my head anymore, so got something good things. I can sit down here now. This is easy. Tuesday, and we're back at work. This is all set up now. We'd like to start stamping it. So the whole time I've been sanding, Brian's been over here measuring and cutting all of the different pieces of fiberglass and peel ply that we're going to need tomorrow for the big job we're going to do then. It's early on Wednesday, and Brian and I are about to tab all of the shower and head walls in on the starboard side. It's not a job I'm looking forward to because it's a lot of tabs. And we just want to get it done, so we're going to try to soldier on all the way through the whole thing. Unfortunately, what's standing in our way of that is the temperatures today. So that's why we're starting pretty early, because it's going to get to 87 degrees Fahrenheit, or that Celsius. And that means that we have to really push along here if we're going to get this done before it gets too hot to epoxy. We're also going to do it in sections. So like we're going to do the outside of the shower right here, and then we'll mix again and do the inside of the shower, and then we'll do the outside of the head and then the inside of the head. So 4 different groupings of this. But that's just so we can try and not have this epoxy kick off too fast on us. But if it reaches 84 degrees Fahrenheit, we'll have to stop, because then we can't mix anymore. So it's around 69 right now, or that, in Celsius. And we're going to see how far we can get, hopefully everything. Now we move Brian over here, where he's busy mixing for me, and those are all of our pieces that are going to be going in, right, ready to hand to me, but he's mixing up some thickened right now so we can get started. All right, we didn't show you the other end. It was the same as the first end that we filmed. So, and then we did the inside of the head area over there, which is pretty much the same as the inside of the shower area, which we're going to do right now. And we split these into separate mixes. So we're doing this half of the shower first, and then we'll do the cupboard area in a second batch. Again, it's getting warmer as we go here. There's 6 sections total. We've done 4, 2 left to go, but it's of course getting later, and slowly the temperature's coming up. So is my temperature. I'm getting hot from working, but I'll be happy to have these walls all glassed in. That's a big job and be behind us. So knocking off the big jobs. So we will be getting down to smaller and smaller jobs. Now, for the final one, we of course saved the most difficult for last because we got our cupboard here. So I got to do the inside of the cupboard and the back wall and tops here. But no big deal. We'll get it, and then we'll be done. So I'll be happy. I'm always happy when we're done with something. we're done. Man, these jobs are not easy, but at least we're finished. Well, we've been sanding all morning on the cockpit ceiling, and we spared you that because it's just endless sanding for 4 hours. But it's fairly far along now. It's ready for the second coat of fairing compound on most of it. But meanwhile, in here, I got to pull this peel ply off. We'll yank all this. Start here somewhere. There we go. Okay, these walls are in. All glassed in. We're ready for rough water. So what we're up to right now is we're going to cut up the pieces that make the cupboards that go under the sink. So we'll have the sink counter and the cupboard that goes underneath in this area and over here in this area. So I get out to start measuring these and start cutting up the green to make the cupboards. Okay, to build the cupboards, the first thing we've got to cut is the countertop. And it's this weird shape that we've drawn here because it has to go around the dagger board, and that has that protuberance out there. And then at the door, we want to angle it over so we don't have a sharp edge as we're coming in the door because we want this wider than what the entry to the door is. So you'll see when we get it cut. Go left-handed so I can miss that. All right, let's go test. Okay, let's see how this fits. Perfect. So that's how that goes in there, and we wanted this angle here from the door so as you're coming in you're not catching a corner, but we also wanted it to come out to this dagger board here so that there's some room for the round sink that's going to sit here, and the sink will project over by about maybe 2 inches, but it's round so it'll only be rounded like this. Doesn't leave a lot of counter space, but enough for a toothbrush thing and stuff, enough there. So that'll work, and now we're going to work on the cupboard that goes underneath. And of course I got to build the one on the other side. Let's see if it works. Okay, let's test this one. It should fit right there. Okay, perfect. Same thing, we've got our angle coming in the door so we don't catch the corner as we go by, but wider over here for the round sink. Perfect. Well, we've been working all morning on our port side heads. In this case, we'd already tabbed all the walls in, but what we hadn't done is the ceilings up there and against the back cupboards over there. Some of the ceiling stuff over here, and the ceiling there, back in the corners and all back in there. So did a whole bunch of tabs in there. We didn't show it to you because we just showed you tabbing in the walls on the starboard side stuff. So you see plenty of that, but we got a lot more of this all tabbed. So that was, 3 hours it took us to tab all those. And I only got it done that fast because we had Jeff here helping with us. Back to working on the counters. We've got most of the pieces ready here. This is the frame, and this is the door for that frame here, and that's the countertop. We need a wall to go down from there. That'll be this white one. A little short, so we're going to cut an extra piece. So you need to make a extension on this one that makes this 26 inches long, this width. Out of that white piece right there. Got Jeff with us today. He's back from the dead. His injury is healed. Ready to go again. So we're going to have Jeff do some coring for us. That does it for the starboard cupboards and heads. Once these are all set up, we can start actually installing them in the boat come Monday. But that's probably all we're going to get done this week.
So as you saw, we got a lot of great tasks accomplished this week.
And speaking of tasks, we promised that we were going to come and talk about what's left. Now, in a video, I don't remember which one it is right now, but a few videos ago, I mentioned us creating a list of all our remaining tasks so that we can start crossing them off. Well, that took me a little longer than I anticipated to make that list. I'm busy building the boat. But I do have that list now, and we have it here on this tablet, but I'm going to put it up to the side here and show you some of it.
Yeah, and as Phil mentioned earlier in our video, there's 230 tasks. And we have culled those down to 6 major categories. And the first of which is construction, meaning all what's left of the green foam and wood that we need to put together on the boat.
Yeah, whether we need to tab it, most likely, or glue it if it's wood and such. But anything we have to build from those, the kit mostly. So there's a bunch of those tasks, and but our second category is sanding and fairing. My favorite. We got a lot of those. We basically divided that into areas of the boat that have to get sanded and faired and sanded, usually at least 2 coats, if not 3. And that also includes our primer painting. So got those tasks, and
then we have painting. So after we've done all that sanding and fairing and primering, we get onto the really good stuff of putting the final coats of paint on and making everything shine and beautiful.
Right, but why can't we do that right at the same time? Because there's one crazy task that we have to do before we can do that. We have to bake the boat. Seriously, we have to cover the entire boat, bring it up to like 150 some degrees Fahrenheit, that in Celsius, and keep it there from a minimum of 4 hours, but more like 12 hours. And what that does is it changes the chemical composition of the epoxy so that if we do get it into a very hot climate temperature, the equator or something, and it heats up, it doesn't soften at all. So that's an important thing for the epoxy. And then also the foam itself, if it's under tension, like when we warp the chamfer panels into place, for example, if they're under tension, well, it'll take that tension out. It makes it take the set of whatever shape it's in. So there's two good reasons why you have to bake a composite boat like this, and so we have to do that. And if you remember that big tent we put up that the city made us take down, arg, I still have a little raw about that one. I still have it. And so we're going to use that and cover the boat with that huge tent, rent some heaters, put them underneath and all that stuff. But that's why we can't paint it at the time we do the primer. And the primer's epoxy, it's okay to do that. The paint is, I think it's a urethane-based paint from Alexial, but it can't be baked at that temperature. So anyhow, that's painting. What's our next category?
The next category is electrical, meaning running all the wiring to lighting, to our fixtures, to
equipment,
electrical outlets.
Yeah, equipment like the dive compressor, the air conditioners, water heaters, all kinds of stuff. Anything that requires power, that's electrical.
Next category is hardware.
Hardware, well, that includes a lot of different kinds of things, like the deck hardware from Goyo, cleats and all that kind of stuff. Also the deck hardware from Garhauer, things like blocks and line organizers and all that kind of stuff. But other equipment too, anything we sort of purchase, like the air conditioners, they have to get installed. Right? The water makers have to get installed. The dive compressor has to get installed. The water heater has to get installed. So anything that's a piece of equipment like that. And the galley, there's just galley equipment like ovens and burners and things. So anything that's equipment, television sets, anything like that. That's all under hardware.
And then finally we have plumbing. So all of the liquid that runs throughout the boat has to go through plumbing.
Right. So toilets, showers, sinks, anything that takes that, we'll have to get to the plumbing. Now we've got a little bit of that already, but there's tasks left. In all of these categories, we've done some things, but there's still tasks to go. So those are the 6 categories. Now what I did to figure out a best guess estimate for how long is left is, I have quite a bit of experience now in working on this boat, so I have an idea of how long each of these kinds of tasks are taking Brian and I, and of course other people who help us occasionally. And so what I did is I took each task and then I figured out you can't do each task in one day, even if it's a one-day task. Let's say that I have a task, for example, I'm going to tab something. Well, I have to glue it in one day and let that set up and then come back the next day and then put the tabs in. So you can't do it all in one day. So I figured out how many separate days I would have to work on each task. Then I figured out how many hours each of those separate days I would take working on it, because it not necessarily take the whole day to glue in some stairs, as using that example. That might take me an hour, but I can't finish it, so I'll make another hour the next day putting the tabs on. So we worked it that way. How many days will we have to work on it, and of those days, how many hours we would have to work on it. Then we can multiply those two together and get a third category, which is the total number of sort of man hours that we have left. I just said sort of because it's Brian and I shared. That's how I did the estimates. Like if I say it takes us 3 hours to do a task, that means it takes Brian and I 3 hours. So technically that's 6 man hours. But I just did it in man hours for our combined Brian and I working on it. And so that got us to our totals here. And the grand total.
The grand total of man hours is 1,448.
And if you don't want to do the math, we'll do it for you. because that works out to a certain number of weeks.
Which is 48.
Now, that number of weeks is based on not a 40-hour week. That's actually based on a 30-hour week. Thing is that we don't always work 8 hours every single day because it's such hard work that we don't always get 8 hours in. And I have editing and other things to do, so I'm not counting those hours as far as working on the boat. So I only said, well, the actual hours we spent working hard on the boat is about 30 each week. And so that's why it ends up, that number ends up at around 48. And so what's 48 weeks in year? Well, months?
12 months or 1 year.
Exactly 1 year. I didn't make it come out to that.
No.
I just listed all the tasks I could possibly think of on the boat, and I'm sure I forgot a few small ones, but I listed every single one, 230 something of them, and estimated those days and hours out, and then let Excel add it up and figure it out for me, and it came out to almost precisely, I mean, it was within like 3 days of exactly 1 year. So it's June of this year. So that means June of next year as to when we would be finished. That's assuming Brian and I can keep going as hard as we've been going. And we have to assume that because I don't know if you noticed, but we haven't taken a week off in these 3 years, not one. Brian and I both got COVID and we each took 3 days off for that. That's it. And we didn't have it at the same time, so the other one kept working. So we really haven't taken a single vacation and don't plan to take one in the next year. We're going to get this boat done. And we figure we can work hard until it's in the water, and then we'll take a very, 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 very long vacation at that point. At least 10 years. So we'll make up for it. So that's where we stand on that. And we've got our 200th episode coming up, and we have a goal for that 200th episode. If you remember in the 100th episode, my goal was to bring the bridge deck up because all we had were the canoes down and the big bulkhead sitting in there, and we got the bridge deck raised up into the boat. And the reason I wanted to do that for the 100th episode was so that I could actually walk our patrons who showed up or friends and family who showed up into the boat. Not much of the boat, just the bridge deck in the center, which is only so wide. But I wanted them to be able to walk up into there. So we took them on little tours up there and had to be careful because there was nothing on the side, so you could fall right out. This time, the whole boat is sitting there. The structure of this boat is complete. Everything else is small tasks. And so therefore, what are we trying to achieve? Well, last time we had to have the party down in the lot and just take tours up into the boat. But this time we're going to do the party inside the boat. We will have maybe not the permanent tables at each of the tables, but we'll have a table. But the seating is the permanent seating in there already. And our boat is designed for parties. We did it that way on purpose. When I laid out the cockpit and salon, I thought, when we're in an anchorage and we want to invite the other crews from the other boats who are in the anchorage over, we want lots of seating. So without any movable chairs, with just the permanent seats that are in the boat, we seat 22 people. And we can add chairs along the tables and add another maybe 6 or so onto that. So we can get up to maybe 28. So that should do us for our party. We have seating for everybody up inside the boat. So since we're going to bring everybody inside the cockpit and salon, my goal is to have the entire cockpit and salon completely faired, sanded, and primered. And we've got about, 4 weeks left to go to get that done. And we will get it done. That's our goal. We got the bridge deck up for the first party. We'll get this done for the second one. So if you are one of our patrons or one of our friends and family in this local area, we would love to have you come to the party. So I will actually announce the specific date in probably next video, but it's going to be mid-July, somewhere right there, and probably a Saturday afternoon. So that is the plan for the 200th episode. And then, of course, that will kick off, well, we're already kicking it off, the 1 year till Splash. And so we hope. But barring anything that gets in our way, that's our goal at this point. So thank you guys for coming to this episode and watching. We do appreciate you showing up.
Yes, we appreciate you and your time and your comments and questions. Keep them coming. And thank you to our patrons listed here. We could not do this project without you. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
Yeah, and in the next video, we're going to get to something new. We're going up to the forebeam and start getting some work done on getting the mounts for the stay, working on the pyramids up there and actually getting them carbon fibered in and all that good stuff. So let's see you next week for that.
Bye.